sweetheart. I have always just adored children. I never even considered another specialty. Should we listen to the kitty first? A lot of children that come to Boston Children's for care have diseases that can be cured by what we call stem cell transplant. But the problem is that it has risks associated with it. And one of the major risks is graft versus host disease, or GVHD, which is the most common cause of death after transplant that is not caused by relapse of the primary disease. What we know is that preventing graft versus host disease is the most important thing, because often when it starts, you can't effectively treat it. When I was a new assistant professor, I decided I needed to research GVHD prophylaxis, and specifically one agent, which is called abatacept. This is a drug that's already been approved for autoimmune disease, but it had never been used in these really, really sick transplant patients before. 3 years later, we published our first clinical trial, and it looked promising, but it was only 10 patients. We decided now we're going to do 180 patients. The phase 2 study was designed to include two really important classes of transplants. Patients that don't have a fully matched unrelated donor, they historically have been really high-risk patients, and patients that have a fully matched unrelated donor. By 2017, we were getting a very strong hint that the patients were doing incredibly well. And so I made this next leap where I thought, you know what, I think we should go for FDA approval. We had no idea how complicated it would be. We had to give a mountain of rigorous data that has been audited and checked in detail by the FDA. That process took years, but finally it resulted in approval in December of 2021. I totally remember the moment that I heard we got FDA approval. So I was sitting in my office and my office phone rang, and I just knew that it had to be what I've been waiting for. And I think I cried, which I'm not a huge crier, so I think there were tears, yes. This was the culmination of 20 years of work. It was a big moment. What we have now is the first ever graft versus host disease preventative agent that's approved by the FDA. It's really been a game changer. It's fundamentally changed the risk for our patients that receive transplants from unrelated donors in terms of their chance of getting GVHD. The slogan for Boston Children's is where the world comes for answers. So if we're going to hold ourselves to be that place, it means we have to drive for perfection or as close as we get to it. And that's the abatacept story in a nutshell.